to the United Stand. A bit of breaking Manchester United transfer news. We thought the transfer window had shut, but of course it doesn't shut for everybody. The goings out could be an issue for Manchester United. Most transfer windows don't close until September the 2nd. And no, it's nothing to do with Paul Pogba, so we don't need to worry about that. This today is to do with Alexis Sanchez. It's funny, we were talking about, I don't know whether you saw the show last night that me and Rance did, we were talking about Sanchez and how, you know, you look at the team against Chelsea, we're very happy with that. You look at the bench and the attacking options of Mason Greenwood and Daniel James, and we're very happy with that. Alexis Sanchez is a bit behind with fitness, but should be back level by the Wolves game. £400,000 a week, best paid player in the league. He's going to have a place at least on the bench. Who do you force out of the team? Well, look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been very ruthless at Manchester United for a very long time. And the removal of Fellaini very quickly, the removal of Lukaku, and it's been pretty much well leaked around Manchester United that Alexis Sanchez, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to move him on. And there's been numerous reports over the summer that Manchester United have tried to move Alexis Sanchez on. But as we were talking about in those final dreadful few months of the season last year, moving on a player who's on 400 grand a week and also has a value that probably the Glazers would want around £30 million, it's very, very difficult when the world knows he's not been a very, very good player. Well, this latest report this morning is coming from The Sun, but, and there's a big but with this, I always say, if it's from The Sun, I totally get why people think it's a load of nonsense, but if it's from Neil Custis in The Sun, he's proven in the past to have good links in with Manchester United. He's been right on quite a few things. So this is from Neil Custis, and he is saying that Manchester United are desperate. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is desperate to remove Alexis Sanchez from the Manchester United squad before the transfer deadline of September the 2nd. And that can be a loan move, it can be a permanent move, but he doesn't want him at the club and would go as far as to put him in the reserves if he doesn't sort out a move by September the 2nd, which is quite a big statement, and we're not going to have to take long to figure out whether it's true or not. But I would suggest that there probably is a lot of truth in this. It doesn't feel like Alexis Sanchez is a big part of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans. And I would say, should he be a part of our plans? We've seen Ben Yedder go from Sevilla to Monaco for £37 million today. And I think that if I saw it on the United Stand Twitter, would you take Ben Yedder at Manchester United for £37 million? He's 29. A lot of people say no. I said no, but if Alexis Sanchez wasn't here, yes. Alexis Sanchez is sort of preventing us from moving on. I don't think Alexis Sanchez helps us move on at all. I think he's a player that we're probably going to have to keep because we've inherited him. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already shown that ruthlessness that, look, no, I haven't inherited them, I want them out. If I can get rid of them, I want them out. And not everything can be done straight away, and maybe Alexis Sanchez will end up staying. But I think it's quite encouraging that if there is truth in this, that Alexis Sanchez isn't just going to walk into the team or walk into the bench because he's on 400 grand a week. Of course, he's a very expensive mistake, and he's a very expensive player to have to keep at the club when you don't want him to be there. I mean, literally, he's earning millions and millions of pounds a month. But can Manchester United move him on? Would they subsidise a loan move? Would you, as a fan, want him to go? Because if you think about it, if Alexis Sanchez isn't part of the situation, as attackers, you've got Rashford, no Lukaku, thank God, Rashford, Martial, Mason Greenwood. Then you've got people like Lingard and Daniel James, but that's pretty much it. To Heath Chong, Angel Gomez, you know, it's very, very raw. It's very, very exciting. Do you want Alexis Sanchez there just to make up the numbers and take up a spot? Or do you actually buy in to all of it and go, you know what? Our midfield's a bit weak, but there's youth there if we need to use it, like Ghana. All right, Alexis Sanchez goes. Our attack is weaker than it was last year, but we go to the youth if we need to use it. And I think that I, for one, would rather do that than retain a player like Alexis Sanchez, who, let's be honest, if you listen to the rumours when he was at Arsenal, you know, quite divisive, quite moody, didn't really want to be there at the end. Rumours of that at Manchester United. A lot of it is going to be very interesting as to how it goes. I know a lot of you would say use him. Mark, you need to be stricter when buying players as clubs are overcharging you, says Zayn Mersai. And Thea Kisten says, Mark, we need to keep Sanchez. If we get injuries, what do? We're already short in the midfield. Ollie needs to play him on the right wing. And welcome to Paul DeLuca, who's the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. And I think that is, I mean, smash a like on the video, everybody. I know it's an early morning video, but I just felt, you know, it was quite an interesting story because Neil Custis in The Sun does definitely have links in with Manchester United. He was the man who was breaking it a year ago about the fallout between Pogba and Mourinho, and loads of people were like, no, it's not true, don't believe it. And obviously it was. He was the one who said that Rooney was leaving. He was the one that said we were signing Lukaku. He was the one, I think he said Carrick was going to be club captain. He's been right quite a few times, and he's not said much over the summer. So I'm interested in this Alexis Sanchez thing. And as I say, with a lot of these statements, it doesn't take long to find out whether it's going to be true or not. And I personally just feel that this season, and Russell Williams says Sanchez out, should ship Sanchez out, says Jerry So. Sell him, says Wiz Gang. I think it's him leaking team selection, says Vinny Searle. Interesting. I think Delo and Wan-Bissaka can learn off one each other, says Will Mellor. He argued with a 17-year-old who's better than him, says G-Lad Beats. Well, we don't know whether that story from yesterday, which was in The Sun as well, about a fallout between Sanchez and Greenwood is true. Neil Custis didn't write that article. Neil Custis, in his article about Sanchez today, doesn't mention the fallout. So I don't think that fallout's true. And also, lots of players fall out on a football pitch when you're training. You know, you do. If anyone's played football, a late tackle, I've seen loads of fights between teammates in training. It happens. So I'm not really bothered about that. I'm more bothered about what you think. Should Sanchez go? Should Sanchez stay? Is Ollie right to move him out? And I ultimately think, look, all right, it might make his attack perceivably look weaker if Sanchez goes. But if he doesn't want Sanchez there, you've got to stand by your morals and show the club, get rid of him. And the club might say, yeah, but Ollie, you're going to be weak up front. I don't want him. I never wanted him. He's your player. You bought him. Mourinho bought him. He spent a lot of money on him. We're wasting a lot of money on him. I'd rather crack on with what I've got than keep him at the football club. And I think if Ollie does that, and I think he's shown that with Lukaku and with Fellaini, the same things happened. Fellaini wasn't replaced. Lukaku wasn't replaced. Sanchez won't be replaced. But if Ollie is sending that message, and we were talking about this on the show last night, if you didn't see the video, do give it a watch. We were saying last night, Ollie's got two hands behind his back because the board haven't backed him to sufficient funds anywhere near what they needed to, but he's still ploughing on with his plan. He's still saying, no, get rid of him. You know, some managers would say, oh, I'm going to keep Lukaku because you're not spending the money anyway. But no, he's gone get rid of him. He's not the sort of player that I want. And I think Sanchez, it can go one of two ways. He could, and I think if you put it as a percentage, like, what are the chances of Alexis Sanchez rediscovering his Arsenal form and being our best player? Slim. I'd probably say 10%. What are the chances of him staying at the club and just playing a bit part over the season? 40%. What are the chances of him going? 50%. So it's 50-50 for me as to whether he's going to go and whether he's going to stay. I certainly think if United are looking to subsidise his wages, he will go. Real test is Wolves, who will show true improvements, as Romanov UK. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game, to be honest. Those people who were joining us a little bit late, there's a story breaking this morning. It's from Neil Custis, who writes for The Sun, who's proven himself in the past to have good links in with Manchester United. He is saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Alexis Sanchez out of the club by September the 2nd, so they're looking for a foreign loanee or a foreign buyer, and it goes as far as to say that if Alexis Sanchez doesn't find a move, and it sort of puts the onus on Sanchez to be finding the move, so work for Alexis Sanchez's agent. If he doesn't find the move, he'll find himself in the reserves and on the bench. He is not part of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first team plans or the build he's trying to do. And for those people who like Sanchez and who are saying, oh, he's wrong, he shouldn't be leaving us that week, you can't have every bit of the pie. You can't have this cake, that cake, and every cake. And we've gone from pie to cake there, I know. But you can't. You've got to concentrate on your cake. You can't be having somebody else's birthday cake. So if you want, like I do, if you want the cake to be Manchester United are building something under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's going to take a bit of time. We've got some young players coming through. We're trying to mould it. Yeah, there's going to be mistakes along the way. There's going to be losses along the way. But we're trying to build something. And to do that, we need unity. We need togetherness. And we need that mix of youth coming through. And we saw that on Sunday. There was a naivety to the way we played football at times. We gifted possession. But in the end, that togetherness, that fitness, that drive got us a very, very convincing result. Yeah, Wolves next week is a really interesting game, and then we've got more interesting games to come. But I like that vision, and I liked that team. I liked that team, and I also liked when I look at the bench, and there's no Lukaku there, and there's no Sanchez there. There's no, oh, are they going to turn up today? Can they be bothered? There's Daniel James and Greenwood, and yeah, Daniel James and Greenwood may not have the talent of a Lukaku or a Sanchez. I'd argue they do, but people may say they don't, but what they do have is that drive and determination to put the shirt on and go and fight and develop. And I would rather go down that road, much rather. Ah! Bloody hell. Oh, my life. Oh, fuck hell. I'm not even joking. I'm genuinely not joking. Women won't understand. It's going right up my chest. Oh, I don't even want to say it because it makes it hurt more. Twisted. I don't even understand why. Oh. I don't know whether it's better or I've just found a position where it's okay, so we're just going to go with it for a minute. Oh. Right. Don't talk too loud. Just sit. Yeah, so let's see what happens with Alexis Sanchez. Also, under Herrera. Under Herrera's birthday today. I don't like the laughing emojis. It's not nice. Under Herrera, birthday today. A lot of people, Timothy Fosu Mensah, are tweeting out that it's his birthday today. That's great. I've got to be honest with you. It just made me think. I cannot believe, even now, I'm still baffled now as to why our second best midfielder under Herrera, because he was, I nearly said he is, our second best midfielder by a long way, Pogba then Herrera for me, and then the rest of them just are miles behind, walked out of this club for nothing and we didn't replace him. It just reminded me when people were tweeting happy birthday under Herrera, how much we'd love to have under Herrera now. I was talking to Rance about it the other day because he was one of the people when Herrera said he was going, oh, let him go, there's loads better players out there. And that argument is correct. You know, there's loads better players than under Herrera. But you don't let him go and not replace him. And I still think that is a massive, just a massive thing, isn't it? Under Herrera, I mean, there's no way in a million years it's different. And the reason I mentioned Herrera on a Sanchez video is I think if Sanchez, Lukaku, Fellaini go out the door, Ollie's like, off you go. I'll even call you the taxi. I'll even give you some money for the taxi. It's like, bye-bye. With Herrera, it was like, you know, you saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what he was like with Herrera, how he spoke about Herrera. He never wanted Herrera to go. That was the board. They messed Herrera about and he walked. And Ole never got a replacement for that player. And I think that is the thing to hold on to this season, is the fact that I think Ole wants Sanchez gone. I think he wanted Lukaku and Fellaini gone, but he never wanted Herrera gone, and he never got a replacement for Herrera. And that is the problem. That is the problem this season, and we all know it. We all know it. How many times a day do you mention Herrera, for God's sake, says Raj Shahan? I don't think Herrera's been mentioned that often, but Raj, if you don't like it, do one, because I will keep mentioning it, because I love Manchester United Football Club and I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and I want this team to be successful, and I'm very keen that when we do lose games, people understand why we do lose games. So mentioning Ander Herrera is very important if you actually are a supporter of this football club and you understand the technicalities of what's going on. Our second best midfielder walked out, our board didn't replace him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't want Herrera to go, and when he did, he needed a replacement and he didn't get it. If you think that is wrong to keep reminding people of that, then maybe you're not the fan you think you are, because you're absolutely clueless and naive to think that is not significant to our weaknesses in the midfield. But there you go. Andrew Chow says, Mark, hope you're okay. Looked painful that. Also, what do you think was the real reason why Herrera left the club? Was it money, lack of ambition? Oh, Andrew, don't mention Herrera. Raj will get upset. Herrera left the club, and he said it himself a couple of weeks ago. PSG wanted him. PSG made him feel wanted. And Manchester United have this proven track record of letting contracts run down. And they let his contract run down, thinking that nobody else would want him. PSG came in with a decent offer. Herrera took it. And then United lost out. We did it with Mata. Mata got his contract when it had run out. De Gea is into his final year. He will sign a new contract, but a player of De Gea's quality is into his final year. Fellaini, we did it with him. Martial, 1 year to go. We did it with him. We have this money-saving exercise of letting these things run down. But those joining a little bit late, story this morning is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants rid of Alexis Sanchez by the end of the European transfer market in September. And if he doesn't go, he will not be part of his plans. To me, that's music to my ears. That's Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. It's a classic. It's brilliant. And I'm very, very happy about it. I don't want Sanchez to be part of this journey. I'd rather see Chong. I'd rather see that inconsistency develop into whatever it's going to be. I'd rather see Gomez. I'd rather see Greenwood. I'd rather see Daniel James. I think Martial and Rashford pick themselves. I think the other 4 or 5 players around them, whether it's Lingard or Mata as well, that's fine. That is depth. I don't want Sanchez at this club. I think he's a very, 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 very expensive mistake. And I think those wages as well, they cause disharmony in the squad. You know, we've got Pogba here that we're basically forcing him to stay for another year at the moment until he signs a new contract or whatever's going to happen. We are forcing Pogba to stay here. And if I'm Paul Pogba and I'm running that midfield, that inexperienced midfield, and all the onus is on me, and you see Alexis Sanchez walking his dogs into Carrington every day while with a piano under his arm on double the wages you are, you're going to be resentful. So I think, you know, I do feel sorry for Sanchez in a way, because I think his wages, as much as he loves his wages, that's the club who've created that disharmony. I just think Sanchez out of the club would be like Lukaku and Fellaini out of the club. It removes something that actually is probably quite negative. The flip side is, this might not happen. He might have a big season for United, but it sounds to me like, well, it's not even just this story today. There's a lot of stories about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanting Sanchez out, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if you were United manager or I was United manager, he'd be one of the first players I'd want out. Not just because he's a flop and he's past it and he's declining, but also because of the wage bill and the disharmony that brings. Anyway, smash a like on the video, everybody. Let's see if we can hit 1,000 likes. A back 3 of Axel, Vic and Harry for tougher games, says Spark. I would be, you know, we're going to have to evolve. I mean, one thing I would say about the Wolves game, if you think we're going to play a 4-2-3-1 against Wolves, we're going to waste a lot of players. Wolves play 1 player up front and they pack the midfield and the defence. So we're going to get swamped in the midfield, and we're going to have 2 centre-backs dealing with 1 striker. It's a waste of time. So maybe you do go to a back 3, push your full-backs into the midfield, and try something a little bit different with Rashford and Martial up front. You could go with a 3-5-2, and I think that would work really well. Martial and Rashford up front, you get Shaw and Wan-Bissaka as your width, you get 3 at the back, and then your midfield 3 have got a platform to combat the Wolves 3. So I think, you know, we playing the same formation against Wolves is probably not a good idea anyway, but we're working towards that. So please do smash the like on the video. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new. We're back again at 8 o'clock tonight, of course, and we'll, of course, go live if anything happens this afternoon. But what's your thoughts on Sanchez? For me, I would move him out, and I'd back Ali on doing that. I think we this season is about developing, and you know what is more development than focusing on some of the youth? And I'd rather do that than Sanchez. So let's see what happens. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.